All right, we're going to go through some changes I've been making here to Zack's page. Zack is about to be pitched to a client, and so we want to kind of get things kind of tightened up for him. And so here's some of the things I've done that I wanted to show. Um, Specifically, I worked a bit on the My Work section. These are three that I've updated, and here's two that Zack had done. So he's done a fair amount of sports writing. He wanted to feature that, and so what I did is I went over to Figma and I took these articles and I rebuilt them into these the sizes that the so first of all, everything should be 1500 by some aspect ratio, and in this case, if you were to log into, let's go down here. So if I edit this section here and I edit it as a summary in a design tab, I can see that where's that? Sorry, layout. 3 by 2 aspect ratio is 3 by 2, and so 1500 pixels is our standard size for everything. And if you go here and you look at different aspect ratios, the 3 by 2 ratio is 1500 by 1000, and so I created some 1500 by 1000 frames here, and I rebuilt it so that primarily we've got a kind of a much bigger visual to catch our attention. It's a little cleaner here to kind of read that headline, and then we can clearly see Zack's name in the article. So that's a lot simpler presentation for the thumbnail. Same with the Chicagoland Speedway. I actually did a fair amount of searching to find a really nice, high-quality logo, and that's something I actually spend a lot of time on whenever there's some graphic work of companies. Sometimes I'll even rebuild the logos to get it really sharp and crisp, but I was able to find a big version of that. And I kind of rebuilt the thumbnail. This is what Zack had up, this whole thing, and I kind of rebuilt that so that stood out. And then he does this really cool solo that to kind of show off, his music. And Foreigner for us old folks, great tune. But you have the option within. Now let's go back to. Within the work section, you can post a video, and with that video, if I hit the settings, I have the option where I can remove the image and I can upload a new image, my own custom image based, despite what's coming through from YouTube or Vimeo. And so I did a screen capture where he's wailing a bit. And it's a better pose than what was currently on there. And then I actually took it into Lightroom and I punched up the colors and put a little vignette, just because, going to do everything we can to really stand out in this area. And so that was a big improvement. And I think and now the thing that I've asked him to do is to put a lot more detail under these. Tell some stories about your work and why these things are important. Tell some stories. So that's the last part that he'll be working on. Clean up this, and I'll help you guys clean up. I think this is a bit simpler in terms of just getting somebody to click on this button and go through it. Oh yeah, and on the hobbies, a couple things I did here is I actually changed the column width on here to get this to fit better. So when you're in, let's go back, and I'm showing you this because I want you to remember that play with these things. Don't let the template kind of hold you from trying some different things and adjust, because it's so easy to adjust some things depending on your content. So in edit mode, you can see that these two spacers will give you columns. Well, this is where it was before. And because the content was kind of bleeding down on there, and he's got some really great stuff he's talking about, I just changed this. Just change that just a little bit. That comes up better. And then the other thing I did is in the gallery mode, he's got these great pictures and great stories, but there's an option within the design to where it says automatically crop images. So with that off, you're going to get all the different sizes, which can be nice because you can see more of the images, but they're kind of you can see the different sizes and whatnot. And when you hit automatically crop, it'll size everything to fit the best way within this frame. So you got a full picture frame, and I didn't feel like whatever it's cutting off, because it'll cut off, it'll make it fit, and it's going to cut something off depending on the actual photo. Now, he and I actually added some space to this image because we wanted to control the cropping, but all the rest of them fill that space in nicely. So that was another thing, and I wanted to remind you, don't hesitate to kind of play with these settings and stuff of that nature. So that's a quick tour of some updates to the landing page, and I hope it helps you guys tweak yours even better.